My name's host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Famous People. And I'm live streaming this morning about, among other things, ISFJ and ENTP. So, like a couple days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, I typed this lady, and she was an ISFJ. And she believed coming in that she was an ENTP. And yesterday I typed this guy, I don't know if he was from Germany or what, some foreign country like that, you know? And he was I could tell right away. He came in thinking he was an ENTP. He was definitely an ISFJ. It's easy enough mistake to make. Remember, I thought CJ O'Connell was an ENTP until I actually typed him. And then I realized he's an ISFJ. And the point I want to make really here is, if you're an ISFJ and not an ENTP, have a party, celebrate. You don't want to be an ENTP. ENTPs are terrible to be. The most creatively active person I know, Dave Porter, is an ISFJ. The happiest person I know, Dave Porter, is an ISFJ. My favorite YouTuber, CJ, is an ISFJ. This guy I talked to yesterday was a very smart guy. Definitely not an ENTP though. He was an ISFJ. The TE polar tests are delightfully 100%. It's incredible. When I asked that pizza question, like if you got two pizzas with different times, one timer and one oven, how do you make them cook at the same time? TE polar gives you the most ridiculously wrong answers imaginable. I asked both that guy and the lady before him the question, what's the optimal number of steps to giving yourself your own haircut? They both answered the same way. First, make sure you have the stuff you need, and then watch a YouTube video on how to give yourself a haircut. Well, this is the problem, Winston's mom. When you look at affect, and that's what you're doing when you're watching him for hours, you are looking at something that's inherently deceptive, right? He is extraordinarily ISFJ-ish because he's TE polar and SI dom. Behaviors, affect, are not reliable, but skills tests, actual typing tests that I give, are reliable. When you can answer no TE question at all in hilariously inept fashion, you are not an ENTP. You're TE polar. Then it's just a matter of determining whether you're an SI user or an NI user, and that's fairly easy to determine, you know. NI users have a very different way of knowing than SI users, you know. So the point is, yes, those people are ISFJs. And the lesson to be taken from it is, don't look to affect. Don't look to commonalities that seem to line up. Like, well, this guy I talked to yesterday, he was into philosophy and psychology a lot, and he considered himself very intellectually active. Well, that's fine, but I mean, if you want to be intellectually accomplished, watch me. The guy I typed yesterday, he had been referred to, he had a bet with his friend. His friend thought he was the wrong type. His friend watches me and said, get Eric to type you, right? So he hired me to type him. And I could tell right away. I called it right away, but then I did all the tests. I didn't say it out loud right away, but I called it in my head right away, you know. I did all the tests, and sure enough, the point is, ISFJs are fantastic. There's no reason to not want to be an ISFJ. Some of my very favorite people in life have been ISFJs. My oldest and best friend, really, Dave Porter, is, well, I know Boba Fett, but you know what? That was like my mom, too. When I was young, my mom's car was messier than my car is. She just threw trash in the back all the time. She was an ISFJ, no doubt about it. The thing is, ISFJs learn over time, okay? Yeah, well, I mean, it's worthwhile watching me because at the very least, the least like praise you could give me would be that I'm responsive, right? When people have an objection or something, I respond to it on point. If they're right, I acknowledge it, you know? And really, it's that process that is what's responsible for all good in the universe, you know? It's like, it's not being correct that matters. It's engaging in a process of correctness that matters. Because if you engage in the process of correctness correctly, then you don't have to worry about individual instances of being wrong. That's just all part of the process of getting rid of instances of being wrong. Where's my good lighter? Anyway, yes, it's the case that ISFJs, when they're younger, are more chaotic as well. Well, I had a funny conversation with Rachel yesterday about the capacity to give lots of examples. And I'm like, for example, Rachel, if I ask you to tell me about how instances where your family imposed on your SI too much and made you mad, you you always have the same example. It's when you were a little kid and it was your sister's birthday and your parents made you get up to watch her open presents, and you found that very, very offensive. I can think of another example from her life where her parents did that. I can think of more examples from her life of that than she can. Good day, misfortune. I'm feeling good this morning. You know, I got up at like 5 whatever, and for some reason I thought it was 12:30 at night. Like, I thought it was the middle of the night. I tried to go back to bed. I wasn't that sleepy, and I got up again, and I realized, oh, I guess I looked at my watch wrong. It's actually morning time. So, anyway, ISFJs of the world, trust me, you don't want to be an ENTP. It's not fun, really. I mean, it's fun sometimes, but also, it's like when you score meh on the TI test, like that guy did, he got a couple of them right, a couple of them wrong. You know, he's definitely not 1 or 2 TI. But, of course, ISFJs value TI heavily. It's in the third slot. They think it's very important. Fairness is very important to them. Justice, etc. But because people don't understand cognitive functions properly, they assume that must mean they're TI1 too. It just means that it's 3. Well, Jung was understanding SI from an NI perspective, which is to say incorrectly. SI people don't take snapshots. They're constantly low-key recording everything. So a good example of an SI thing is what I've talked about before, which is if if we hear a song in the car, I have the capacity to tell you exactly where we were on the road when we heard that song. It's not because I'm intentionally taking snapshots or anything. It's because I'm always kind of low key recording with SI, you know? Well, you might have run into a real ENTP. There are a few of us out there. Surprisingly uncommon, but the thing is, nobody can accuse me of not wanting to type people as a certain type. Like, I typed an ENTP just a couple weeks ago. That guy, another foreign guy, I don't remember what country he was from, but like Eastern Europe someplace, I think. I'm always delighted when I do encounter ENTPs and get to type them. It just doesn't happen very often. But the key takeaway here is being an ISFJ does not mean you're weak or whatever in other stuff. Like, SI is a learning function. SI DOMs are going to be good at whatever they direct their learning towards, you know? My friend Dave Porter is a good musician and the most creatively active person I know. More creatively active than me, at least in his preferred genre. He works on music all the time. And he's a great visual artist too. So, yeah, you can access those memories every time if called upon to do so. But it's not really it's not like accessing folders on a computer, right? Most significantly, it's a associative trigger function. So if I drive by a place where something dramatic happened to me, I'll remember that event every time I drive by that place. I'll be triggered by the sight of that place and have those memories again. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to get out of LA, because I have so many SI triggers in LA, right? Of mostly bad and traumatic shit. And so up here, I have no triggers. I'd never been to Mariposa before we moved here, you know, except for just to visit once to check it out, you know. So I don't have any bad associations with anything around here. And I'm not triggered to recall, like, you know, like in LA, every time I drove past Drinkers Hall of Fame, I remember the same scene of me and Dave Porter stumbling out of there shit-faced drunk when I was like 22, you know? I had a lot of drunk memories. Like, oh, that was the place where I got in that big argument with that lady that one time when I was shit-faced. You know? And those were not, that's not fun to live in the past like that. When your past isn't very good, right? To always have these reminders of bad things happening all around you. Up here, there are no such triggers. And like, well, I mean, I had a trigger. I'm developing new triggers, but they're not bad. For example, when I was out on the porch the other day, smoking a cigarette, I don't think they're going to be that different. I think CJ is quite a bit like Dave Porter. I would note as well the laziness. ISFJs can be very lazy people. Dave Porter spent a lot of years not having a job, just busking and stuff and living with his girlfriend who did have a job, you know? Anyway, I'll give you an SI trigger example from here, and you'll see how much less traumatic it is. So I was out here on the deck smoking a cigarette the other morning, and I was just dancing. I was dancing to the hum of your refrigerator. I like it here. I like the lighting. So here's the trigger I was talking about. Across the street, you can actually barely see the top of it. Right over the top of this house, you can see it poking up this little white sign. It says for sale. Has the hill across the street. Well, when I saw that the other morning, I was triggered to remember my conversation with the realtor, David. I tried to buy that hill. It's not for sale. The water company bought it like 20 years ago. They never took down the sign. And I've been thinking about taking down the sign myself. This is the kind of SI trigger I have around here. You know, that's fine. That doesn't bother me. I don't remember. I don't like feel bad remembering that conversation. Just, oh, the water company owns the hill now. They never just took down the sign. That doesn't cause me to be upset. It's just bland, you know? It's just fully bland. Anyway, I've been off speed for God knows how long. And I gotta call my doctor again today and see what the fuck's going on with my Vyvanse. Like, I told him just switch me to Vyvanse already. But if there's gonna be problems with it, like, if I call today and it's like, well, you need to come down here and take a blah, blah, blah. I'm just gonna say, okay, well, you're a fine doctor and everything, but I'm going to change doctors now. It's not because I'm not happy with you, because you've done a fine job, Mr. Doctor. You call my prescription in right away every month. You're doing a wonderful job. But I think I'm going to switch to Dr. Ingram, who I know, who I'm friends with almost. It's like, I like Dr. Ingram. Whenever Rachel and Dr. Ingram talk, I'm there. I chime in occasionally. He's great. Yes, I did succumb. Or I'm attempting to succumb to doing that. I called my doctor on Friday and said switch me to Vyvanse. Because they just don't have any Adderall, But as like a middle finger to the government or something, I'm tempted to just say to my doctor, forget it, call Dr. Ingram and see if I can get him to prescribe me meth. That'd be fucking awesome. Prescription meth. That's what I need. I need prescription meth. Everyone's like, they don't have prescription meth. Oh, yes, they do. That's what I said. They don't have prescription meth. Oh, yes, they do. Anyway, ISFJs of the world, including CJ O'Connell, who's definitely an ISFJ. Regardless of what affect he displays on his live streams, that's not reliable. We can't use that to type people. Regardless of what he seems like when he talks in chat, we can't use that. It's not reliable. He's an ISFJ. The point is, ISFJs of the world, get on your knees and thank God you're not an ENTP. That's what you should do. Get on your knees and thank God. Being an ENTP is not like great or whatever. My life is great despite being an ENTP, not because of it. It had nothing to do with me at all, right? My life is great because of totally unfair random factors that benefited me. That's the only reason why. So, totally arbitrary, unfair bullshit that I win for some reason, But that's not having to do with my personality type. My personality type is just a mess. Not all of us are failures, but I would guess a fairly high percentage of ENTPs just kind of end up drinking themselves to death or just failing catastrophically in all directions. Like, I talked to this ENTP one time. He was definitely an ENTP. And he conveyed to me that he couldn't watch me because it made him sick about his own failure to launch and catastrophic mislaunches. You know, it was really kind of sad to hear and everything, but I understood it completely. You can think CJ is an ENTP all you want. Oh, you think he's an ENFP? He's not an ENFP. He's definitely FI and definitely not. I mean, definitely FE and definitely not FI. The guy's as FE tool as it gets. He's also a 9, which is typical for a lot of INFJs and ISFJs. Right. Well, like when you're watching him on his live stream, and you'll note how rarely he streams, right? You're watching him indulge in his fourth slot, just like I do with Sleepy Week with my fourth slot, just like I do every time I'm feeling, I indulge in my fourth slot, and I wallow in it. You know, I take a long shower, right? Make a big deal about my poops. I sleep like a baby log dog rock, and and then when I'm hungry, I just go. Yeah, well, that's what you're seeing is somebody indulging in their fourth slot function. It's a respite from yourself that happens to everybody. And the fact that he talks about movies enthusiastically for hours. He's an observer type. He's talking about things he's observed, right? So he's talking about media he's consumed, much like an INFJ would, except he's obviously SI. I do occasionally talk about media I consume, but I'm not an observing type. I'm an action type. So instead, I talk about stuff I'm going to do, ideas I've been thinking about, blah, 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 right? That's the difference between ENTP and ISFJ. Talking for a long time. What are they talking about? I'm talking a lot of times, maybe even most of the time, about various ideas I've had, not about other people's work product. I do talk about music and movies and various things like that occasionally. It's, you know, they can be interesting enough topics, but I like to listen to CJ talk about movies. When I'm in the mood to receive things, listening to a knower talk about media is very pleasant to me. That's why CJ is my favorite YouTuber. He wouldn't be my favorite YouTuber if he was an ENTP. I wouldn't be interested in watching him. He'd be talking about his own stuff. And I want to talk about my own stuff. Because I'm an ENTP. Well, people who are deliberation first, like INTPs have a much harder time live streaming than I do. When I'm live streaming, this morning, for some reason, there's like 10 people right away. But sometimes it takes a long time for somebody to show up or meh. Well, it's true that he's only 27 and hasn't been out there, so he's sort of in the page stage of his life, or whatever you want to call that. That's all well and good, but cognitive function stack doesn't change at all. And while our affect or our display might change somewhat throughout our life, I'm quieter now than I used to be, a lot quieter. So, like when we were playing bingo the other night, of the four of us there, I was by far the most reserved. There was me, Rachel, Joyce, and this dude, Dwayne, I think his name was. And Dwayne and Joyce were an interesting couple because they looked to be about 14 years apart, except the guy was younger. ISTJ guy. I think they might have both been ISTJs. Seemed like a happy couple. I was really happy that the lady won twice. Won twice during the course of the evening, which is crazy because there's like, I don't know, maybe 70 people there, 80, maybe even 100 people there. And she won twice. Won like $200 or something. So I was really happy for her. Rachel was happy for her. We didn't really care if we won or not. And they wanted to win badly, and they had brought with them Nana's Dauber because the lady's grandmother had recently died a couple months ago and used to play bingo with them. And so they brought her Dauber to use, and it worked, and they won twice. So they credited it to Grandma's Magic Dauber, of course. A Dauber, if you don't know, bingo is got equipment. There's this dauber that you push down on the numbers, as they call them, and it leaves this big orange circle. And then, but it doesn't fade, doesn't go through the paper to the next one underneath it, because they have a stack of 10 of these pull-off sheets of bingo cards. That it's crazy. It's really well put together. Their bingo thing is TE'd beautifully. It's amazing. So anyway. Well, Kimberly was what you might call a dumb ISFJ. But you want me to remove that comment? Oh, you must have already removed it. Hi, Tay. What's the best way to decipher FE and FI? I feel like I do both. Same with NE and SE. I use both almost equally. Well, you definitely don't. I mean, the thing is, if you feel like you use them both almost equally, then most likely they're in the 4 or 5 slot. 4 and 5 slot. Those are the functions that we actually use kind of equally are our 4th and 5th slot functions. We don't really use them kind of equally. The 5th slot's unconscious. The 4th slot is what actually drives our for me, it's knowing. But the 5th slot is what we uphold as a value and what our exercise of the 4th slot validates against. So if it is true that you feel like that you actually use NE and SE sort of equally, that you believe that to be the case, then the one you would value more would be the one that is 5th slot, the one that you think is more important in general in the world, including yourself. That one would be the 5th slot function. So let's say you had NE 5th, you were an NI Dom. Well, then in that case, if you feel like you used FI and FE both equally, you'd be wrong. But you'd be probably an INFJ. If you value SE more, then you'd probably be an ISFJ. Again, this is just totally speculative, right? It's like I'd have to actually type you to be able to tell you what type you are. I've learned that many, many times over. That every time I have an impression of somebody initially or whatever, and I think, oh, they must be. I thought CJ was an ENTP until I typed him. Once you type him, it becomes unequivocally clear, because like a TE polar test is very definitive. It's one of the most definitive tests we have. When you ask TE polar people the TE polar questions, they cannot get them. They give you hilariously wrong answers. Plot twist, INFP HD is an ENTP. Probably thinks he is. Well, the challenge is this. For people with either SI1 or 2, you're going to have a lot of trouble convincing them that of the actuality, which is that cognitive functions are singularly correct, right? And the defensible typology explanation of them is singularly and exclusively correct. You're going to have trouble convincing anybody who's SI1 or 2 of that, no matter what. No matter what. Because they're subjective knowers. Their experience informs their knowing. And, yo, sup, that was weird. My messages didn't send because my space is up. Your space is full? What does that mean, CJ? Yeah, well, if the CIA is going to type, they need to get me involved. I'm the only one who's doing it properly, as far as I can tell. This guy I typed yesterday, he was an ISFJ who was studying psychology and felt like he understood typology somewhat and had never watched a single one of my videos and was completely had his head up his ass about it. He had no idea about cognitive functions or how singularly and determinedly the stack dynamics define individuals. It's not in any dispute that that guy was an ISFJ. It should not be by anybody because he definitively tested TE polar and definitively was SI, not NI. So that makes him an ISFJ. The other things also correlated. The other things that aren't as strong and definitive also correlated. Just confirmed what I already knew. But the fact is, if somebody's SI1 or 2, they don't like the idea of singular truths determining things to the exclusion of all things else. They fundamentally dislike that because they're experiential knowers. And they're always going to be able to come up with examples that would appear to be counterexamples. Of course, they're only counterexamples if you're trying to type wrong. If you're trying to type by affect and general description and what you expect ISFJs to be like and various vagaries like that, then you can always find counterexamples because they're so vague, they're not saying anything. and they're so backwards in their frame of reference. You can't type like that. It doesn't work. But again, the takeaway here is that SI1, SI2 doesn't want there to be NI. They don't want NI to win. That's what it boils down to. They don't want NI to win. It runs counter to who they are. Just like I don't want SE to win. I don't want FI to win. I want my own FI to win, of course. But I don't want SE to win. This is hard stuff. Hard stuff's hard. All right. I'll be back. Like the ISFJ I typed yesterday, despite my unequivocal explanation and indisputable correctness, his takeaway was he's going to get 4 more people to type him so he can triangulate the data or whatever. That's a resistance to NI right there, you know? What I said was definitive, absolutely explanatory, convincing beyond any reasonable doubt. But SI is skeptical of those sort of things. And if it's in the 1 or 2, it's hard to convince those people. Of course, that's what I offer that I think only some people want, which is I'm not going to tell you the type you want to be. I'm going to tell you the type you are. And I'm very intuitive. So I can usually tell right away when you want to be a type. And probably what type you want to be. Like I typed that guy yesterday, I said, you are an ISFJ who thinks he's an ENTP. And I was exactly right. So he said he was going back and forth between ENTP and INFP. If you're going back and forth between ENTP and INFP, you don't know anything about cognitive functions. One of them is FI Dom, the other is FI Polar. Anyway, I already put out cutlets for the Woodland Friends. So hopefully they'll eat them. And hopefully I'll get amphetamines today. That would be nice. But, you know, starting to give up hope. I'm going to be stuck on this island, castawayed by myself forever. I'm waiting for the rescue boat named Dalegas. In Los Angeles, Mexican gangster types call methamphetamine Dalegas, or Dale, which is give it gas. Dale. Isn't that fun? Isn't that a fun piece of information? I mean, it's an old piece of information. They used to do that like 20 years ago. Do they still? I don't know. I've not kept up with my Mexican underworld connections. Well, we got Mr. Blue Jay, of course. He's always the first one to show up for the grub. We had an Oriole up there a second ago, too. Oreo. They're not really Orioles, I don't think, but they look like them. So I call them Oreos. All right, it's slightly chilly out here, so let's go back inside. Let me tell you a story about a man named Brady. No, not that story. I'm going to tell you a different story. A story about a couple named Eric and Rachel and their exciting outing yesterday to apologize. Their exciting apology outing. So, we were supposed to have a yard sale this Saturday, I mean. We had sent them an email saying, yes, we want to participate in this. We want to have a yard sale. We'll have it on just Saturday only. Well, we had bitten off a little more than we can chew. And we didn't have a yard sale. We just went to sleep and said, we're not having a yard sale tomorrow because we're not going to do this. And then, of course, we felt really bad because we told this lady to put us on the map, and then we just didn't have a yard sale. And we're like, oh, fuck. So yesterday we took our little car, our little wilderness car, and we drove down the street to the neighbors and said hi, introduced ourselves, and apologized and gave them the $5 that we were supposed to donate for the promotion of it. There's a very small amount of money you have to donate. $5. But we wanted to make sure we gave it to her, you know. So we went there. And we met this wonderful young couple. Wonderful people. See, you're an ISFJ can come up with examples of all those things. There's no such thing as having relatively good NE forethought, right? You're a creative, smart person, and your energies are directed towards interesting, creative things. Just like my friend Dave Porter, right? SI DOMs have the advantage of becoming what they pay attention to. They're learners. I'm an ENTP who expresses his fourth slot in a SI like meow. Whether it's good or bad is, see, we don't put those kind of normative things about SI, right? We still use those expressions, but we shouldn't. My SI is neither good nor bad, it's fourth slot, and it behaves accordingly. Kimberly's expression of NE was much more concrete than CJ's because she paid attention to much more concrete things than CJ does and learned about much more concrete things than CJ does. But she still wallowed in her fourth slot just as I wallow in my fourth slot. Whether or not it's good, quote unquote, in other words, whether or not you're creatively interesting, well, that's a separate question than whether or not your NE is good, right? That's a question about the work product itself, not about the person who's paying attention. So I think it's important that we remember this. I mean, I do think that one's fourth slot matures with time and experience. My SI it occupies a more conscious kind of attention for me than it used to. And that's a product of it being a learning function. And a learning function that's especially attuned in the fourth slot to avoiding mistakes again. Avoiding mistake repetition. Well, you don't have to be good at them. You just have to spend all your time doing them. Being good at them is a separate question, right? It's like if you're looking at whether I'm good at extroverted intuition from my own life's perspective, you would probably say I'm bad at it. I'm bad at using the multiplicity of ideas that I have to any good effect. But if you were to evaluate the ideas simply on novelty and multiplicity, then you'd say, wow, that guy's got at least a lot of extroverted intuition. Whether or not it's good or bad is a separate question and has to be evaluated through one of multiple perspectives to mean anything. Because we're able to convert certain attentional manners, habits of attention, into skills tests, there's a propensity to mistake attentional manners for skills. They're not. They're ways of paying attention. A tendency. I said propensity, I should have said tendency. Shame on me. I feel like I use any as a fun shield around people and defense mechanism. Chicken tendency? No, not a chicken tendency. Although, sometimes I have a chicken tendency, but then I would call it probably better a hunger for chicken. Yeah, well, we can convert it into skills when we use TE to make it useful to something else, right? So the TE questions I ask to see if someone's TE polar are a way of converting an intentional blind spot into a test, an assessment that can work on anybody. Hopefully, even if they know about it ahead of time, as long as I alter the question a little bit, you know? The TE polar tests are proving to be the most definitive tests that we have, almost, you know? They're as definitive as TI polar, maybe even more. Now that I understand the difference between TE reasoning questions and TI reasoning questions explicitly, because I didn't until just recently did I realize, oh, questions like that, fox, chicken, bag of rice, how do you get it across the river with one boat, those kind of questions are TE questions. Now that I realize that, you know, it's really rock solid. Like, oh, okay, we've got what are basically verbal reasoning kind of questions, but they're TE. There's a clear distinction between what kind of verbal reasoning questions are TE and which ones are TI. And it's rock fucking solid. It's beautiful. It's like indisputable. If you just, of course, for me to substantiate this claim that it's indisputable, I need to do a lot of data work. I'd have to go through a bunch of things and come up with a bunch of examples of them, put them all together convincingly in a video where they're all put together, and then it would be pretty hard to dispute. And it is in its actuality, but because I haven't done that work, I can't blame people for being skeptical still, you know. The NI polar test is also quite an elegant piece of work. No, 356 plus 257 is a TI question, and or it depends on how you solve it. So if you actually take out a piece of paper and do the operations of adding things together, then you're using a TE approach. If you do it in your head, then it's TI. So that's like 613. I did it in my head because I'm a TI tool user. I just went 5, the 50s are 6, the 6 and 7s are 13. You know? Yeah, I did that same way you did it, could just too. I went 3 and 2, that's 5. 5 and 5 is another 100, that's 6. 6 and 7 is 13. Well, what's probably more telling is how you're inclined to solve the problem rather than whether or not you get it right, you know. In general, that's the case with cognitive function tests that are good, is the tester's looking to see how people are solving the problems or answering the questions, not what their answers are. It just so happened that the last two people I typed, both of whom were ISFJs who thought they were ENTPs, gave almost identical answers to both the same TE questions. It was crazy. It was like, wow. that's so beautiful when things validate so well, you know. That's the beautiful thing about cognitive functions. The more I work with people typing them, the more I work with the conversion of what I understand about them attentionally into assessments, the more just powerfully convincing the whole thing is. Unfortunately, people can't see either of the last two videos because those people didn't want to publish. Because after all, they thought they were ENTPs. SI DOMs don't like being defined by NI. I have to remember that. I try not to talk about how when Dave Porter or Natalie, like Dave Porter I was talking to him on the phone yesterday, and he was saying how much Natalie and he like to do this thing where they play pivotal moment. If it weren't for that pivotal moment when meow happened, then meow wouldn't have happened, and meow wouldn't have happened, and meow wouldn't have happened, and none of this would have happened, and we wouldn't be here right now. It was all for that one pivotal moment. And that's such a third slot NI thing to do, right? And I kind of laughed about it and said, like, that's super ISFP of her. And yeah, I could tell. Dave, of course, is tool slot FE, so he's not being overtly meow about anything, but I could tell he didn't like that. He didn't want to be reduced to me understanding him via cognitive functions. It's people are touchy about their 8-slot function, you know, and that's what I'm doing is I'm kicking him in the NI, and he doesn't like it. And you know, I gotta respect that because I don't like being kicked in the SE, right? But around here, CJ's got a problem. Around here, I can't respect that. I can't respect the fact that CJ doesn't like getting kicked in the NI. NI is king around here, so. Being NI ignoring actually helps a great deal in typing people. Being NI ignoring actually helps a great deal in typing people. I mean, the reason is I'm not concluding things based on my intuition. I'm paying attention to the tests. The tests, I've had to use my intuition to get the right test, right? But then I trust the test, not my intuition. So it's kind of important to be not ignoring. Rachel may know a person's type just as well as I do. I mean, we'll usually agree, but she can't justify it as well as I can because she didn't reach that conclusion in the same way I did. I reached it as a deliberated conclusion based on the data presented to me by the results of the tests. She reached that conclusion based on her intuition. So it's better to be not ignoring. Because not ignoring means you can justify yourself because you didn't use your intuition to draw those conclusions. If I'm having to use my intuition at the end of a typing session, it means I'm not sure what type somebody is. The polar tests that we have and use that are as definitive as they are the most significant thing in all of psychology. They're one of the few things in all of psychology that you can actually hang your hat on. That people cannot game because people are open systems. They can know about a test, learn about it, and change in order to game that test. It's implicit to how people are, right? But they can't game polar tests. And that's amazing, huge. It's like the hugest thing ever in psychology. It stands apart from everything else pretty much in psychology. As something definitively so. There's a subset of the population that will answer TE questions like this, as though they don't even get the concept of it. And you can administer it and you can figure out what percentage of the population has that. And that will get you definitive answers about what percentage of the population equals ISFJ plus an INFJ. You can use a TI polar test equivalently. It's very easy for me to spot somebody's NE polar, but it's very hard for me to give you a test that other people can administer and come to the right conclusion about. Like for that one, I have to use my intuition some. I can just tell when someone's ISFP or ISTP by their lack of extroverted intuition. I can tell the difference between polar and any other slot. I have tests that inform me about it, but ultimately I can't write down, they will say this, and that will be equal to any polar, like I can with TE polar or NI polar. So, I mean, I don't have all the pieces solid like I do TE or NI, but those ones are indisputably solid. And if we're going to have any meaningful understanding of cognitive functions at all, it has to begin there with things that are indisputably so about a certain type that you can test and ascertain 100% of the time or very close to it. There's nothing else like it in psychology. Okay, CJ, so tell me this. Well, look, one of the problems with TE polar tests, I'm not sure if they work on non-virgins. So, to repeat the legend for this map here, virgins are people who don't know about typology and don't know about my typing questions. Half virgins know about typology but don't know about my typing questions. Non-virgins know about my typing questions. It's like CJ. So I will ask you, CJ, this question, and we'll see what answer you give, but you may have heard me talk about this already in this thing. So as a non-virgin, I'm not sure how well the TE questions work. But the question is, break down the process of giving yourself a haircut into the right number of steps. Okay, and this time we're skipping what you objected to there. We're skipping the give me the optimal number of steps. I'm just saying, just go ahead and break it down. Okay, well, it is the case that abnormal psychology has its own set of impacts that fundamentally don't really link to typology at all, but that may express differently according to type. So, like, if you have BPD, that does not link to typology at all. But depending on what type you are, that BPD may express differently. I'm not sure about that. I have no opinions about that. I don't care about that. Because that is what you'd call regressive. Like, in other words, it doesn't inform us about humanity very much. It doesn't inform us about typology very much. It doesn't inform us about BPD very much. It is just, it's a closed topic. It's like a closed circle topic that doesn't, is down here, a little node down here that doesn't interest me. Obviously, I'm a little more interested in certain kinds of abnormal psychology in and of themselves. Now, of giving yourself a haircut. You can't type somebody without the test. That's the point, Mac Daddy. If you want this thing to be solid, you need to have questions that are the same that you use on everybody, so that you have multiple examples of them, and you can show how this subpopulation of people all answer these questions in the same crazy wrong way. This is the process by which you get typology to be taken seriously, right? You have to accept the NI, that there's a single correct course. And then you have to prove it with many, many examples. And the strategy for legitimately proving it beyond any kind of reasonable doubt is that you show linkages. So in an ideal world, you'd show that you'd be able to show SI1 or NI1 definitively, so that when you get TE polar, you're able to prove that it always correlates with either SI DOM or an NI DOM, because you've got some sort of definitive test for that. I don't have that, but that would be the ideal. That would be the way to do it. Then you'd have it proved beyond any reasonable doubt. So it's right in front of us, but we're not quite there yet, you know? However, I will tell you that all of the people who don't value NI as an absolute value probably are going to be inherently resistant to this notion. It's implicit to their ontology that they use NI for things, that it doesn't constrain them at all. And telling people they're defined by their attentional manners is basically saying, this NI constrains you. So we've got a bit of an uphill battle, you might say. But so it goes. So it goes. Kurt Vonnegut was a good writer and shit, whatever, but he made a horrible mistake. When Slaughterhouse-Five got big and famous, he left his wife for some young chick, some young groupie, and his wife had supported him for all of his time, telling him what a great writer he was. He had kids with her and everything. He regretted that for the rest of his life, I bet. I saw this documentary on him. That just made me sick. I just couldn't believe it. Oh, God. What an idiot. That steps on my SI. Fourth slot or whatever, but an FI. How could he do that? He had all those years put in with her, and she was such a supportive wife, and she loved him so much and everything, and oh, God, what a scummy guy. Why would he do that? Well, he paid for it. He died a lonely old man, giving sermons at Unitarian churches about the importance of extended communities, because, of course, he had ruined his relationship with his own family. Idiot. I mean, I do think it's important to have extended communities. Talking to Spanish people is the third pillar of Islam for me, First pillar of Islam is me and Delilah. Second pillar of Islam is Rachel. And the third pillar of Islam is talking with Spanish people. What is that sound? Oh, it's a car. I see. Never mind. I thought it was some kind of bear or something. We did have what, did they stop right there? And not go, I saw it go that way, but not that way. Well, anyway. I saw a deer down in the gully here the other day. And I said, oh, it's a deer. Because I heard this loud thing crashing around down there. I was like, what is that? Is that a person? Is that a Sasquatch? No, it was just a deer. It was neither person nor Sasquatch. When will I see Sasquatch? I've been looking oh so long. Still his hairy form evades my eyes. When will I see Squatch? Through the summer and the fall, I look for Sasquatch, that is all. I look behind the trees and what, ma. When I want some Sasquatch, all I find are moving deer, squirrels, and other kinds of things. When I want Squatch. That's a sad song about how I've not found Sasquatch. I did meet him in town, but he was just a guy in a Sasquatch suit. It was still pretty fun. I was on mushrooms too, so that helps. Thinking about taking mushrooms today, but I do have a 6 p.m. appointment. We have a 6 p.m. appointment with our wedding officiant. And he's going to interview us or whatever so he can write a personalized wedding vows for us. You know what? Take this jacket off. Let's pick up this cord. And let's take a trip to the world of SI. This is so important. SI is a wonderful world of bodily sensations. When they're good bodily sensations, you have a wonderful time. When they're bad bodily sensations, then you feel bad. And you moan and groan and say, oh, well, right now, I feel a poop coming. And getting rid of poop from my body is always a triumph that I can write home about. Of course, now writing home is just writing a letter to myself. You guys are missing out on a rich, gamey smell. That's a good poop. In terms of quantity of poop, it's a good poop. In terms of quality of poop, I'm not so sure. I think it might be a multi-wiper. Yeah, this is going to be some multi-wipes. Going to take like 10 wipes. That was my third wipe. We'll count them and find out. Wipe number 4. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. There's a lot of wipes. Number 9. It's going to be more than 10, I think. I like to make sure there's not even one speck of poop on the toilet paper. Number 10. Number 11. I better flush at this point. I'm taking a pause in the wiping to go pee now, I think. I'm going to use my bladder and my urethra to go pee. My bladder has a natural outward pushing motion towards pee. My urethra provides a tube for it to travel down into the toilet. And away from my precious body. You don't want your pee to get on your precious body. That's why it's nice to have a urethra tube. What is that, 13? 12? Yeah, that's 13. 13 wipes? That's a lot of wipes. I have to get a new roll of toilet paper. I'm still not done. Come on. I hated how the first one's attached. You know what I'm talking about? The first piece of toilet paper is attached to the top piece of toilet paper. And you gotta gently separate them. 14. Okay, I don't really need a 15th wipe, but just as I did need a 15th wipe. Now I have to have a 16th wipe. There. Okay, that's fine. Wow. That's a lot of wiping. That's what I call having a chafed butthole. If you want to chafe your butthole, try having a 16 wipe poop. I think I should invent a product called butthole chapstick. Butthole chapstick is something that people could buy and put on after they had a 16 wiper. And they'd feel like, oh, the soothing menthol of butthole chapstick is providing me great solace in my time of need. I could also invent a urethra warming sock for after you go pee. It's just a little, like, headband that goes around your penis. It's called a urethra warming sock. It's like a headband, but it's not as expansive as a headband, but longer than a headband. Basically like a leg warmer for your cock. Okay. Die, motherfucker! How dare you come inside the house? Yes, now you're dead. I killed a mosquito the other day. I pushed it up against the wall, and it was full of blood. Whose blood? I don't know. Not its own blood. Somebody else's blood. All right. After a 16 wiper, you don't have any choice but to wash your hands. Okay, well, whew. Now that's what I call an SI adventure. How many pre-orders do I have for butthole chapstick? Zappa's terrible. That's why you couldn't get into him, Boba Fett. And the only thing I know about Zappa is this one song where he says, "Don't fool yourself, girl. It's going right up your poop chute." Which I think is a pretty funny lyric. "Don't fool yourself, girl. It's going right up your poop chute" is an example of excellent lyric writing. But beyond that, I think he's, by and large, incredibly terrible. Any run amok. Yeah, if you want to listen to aimless nonsense. Just throw it in the pile titled "Aimless Nonsense." Well, I don't know. Tobacco is my favorite vegetable. It's a good quote. I like that quote. Good job, Frank Zappa, with that quote. I'm sure he's quite quotable. But that's different from being good at music. That's different from making good music, I should say. So, like, now I'm just like, I'm in, I'm in like circle around the airport mode. I want speed so that I can proceed with various tasks that I need to complete. But instead, I just am going to wonder about that until that gets resolved. And there's plenty of good jazz that's not any. Like, walk my way, and 1,000 violins begin to play. Or it might be the sound of your hello. The music I hear, I get misty the moment you're near. On my own, would I wander through this wonderland alone, never knowing my right foot from my left, my hat from my glove. I'm too misty and too much in love. You may say that you're leading me on, but it's just what I want you to do. You know, see that I'm hopelessly lost. That's why I'm following you. On my own, would I wander fly through this wonderland alone, never knowing my right foot from my left, my hat from my glove. I'm too misty and too much in love. It's a good song by Earl Garner. It's a jazz song. It's very jazzy, but still a good song. The problem with butthole chapstick is application. You can only use it once and you have to throw it away because it touched your butthole. You make a compelling argument there. Certainly you wouldn't want to use community butthole chapstick. Yeah, I think a lot of stand-up is practiced, Beaufet, and that people like me don't necessarily end up as stand-up comedians because I'm, I can be funny, but I don't really like the idea of putting together a routine, you know? Although, it's possible. What was I saying the other day would be a good beginning to a stand-up routine? I don't remember now. I have to go back. I think I talked about it on a live stream before, but I don't remember. This is the problem with me being a stand-up comic is I don't keep track of my jokes. I make up plenty of good jokes, but I don't write them down or keep track of them, and I'd have to spend a lot of time going back through old media and putting together a compilation of all of my jokes, writing them down or something, If I wanted to be a good stand-up comic, I would do that. If I had a compilation of all the good jokes I've written, people would be like, wow, that guy's written a lot of good jokes. Because I have written a lot of good jokes. But, the thing is there any way to tell if somebody's being SE or any? Not really, just by watching it. Usually, SE comedians aren't very funny, is what it boils down to. But yeah, I'd have to do small gigs, same playlist, get better at delivery. I have some ideas about stuff I might include. I've thought about before. Yeah, what you need to do is you need to keep with you a butthole chapstick knife that stays in the bathroom. That you just slice off a sliver after every time. Okay, well, let's think about this. You push it, it shoots out a little droplet of butthole chapstick. Okay, You put that on, and then it has a little teeny layer of plastic that you peel off the top of the thing and throw away. No, Rachel got me this shirt. I call it my Charlie Brown shirt. It's funny that you link it to something else. Oh, brother, where art thou? I've never seen Oh, brother, where art thou? I think it makes me look like Charlie Brown. Especially since I'm always missing footballs that I'm trying to kick. Since you're here, Taylor, let's agree to go smoke a cigarette outside. Let's smoke a cigarette together. Oh, brother, where art thou? You're right here. So let's smoke a cigarette together. It's the least we can do as an act of brotherly bonding. Plus, it helps with the air quality outside. Oh, CJ. Jokes can be very funny, okay? For example, have you heard the one about the priest, the rabbi, and the nun? Well, the priest and the rabbi were taking turns butt fucking the nun one day, when all of a sudden she said, "Hey, isn't this a sin?" And they were like, "Oh, fuck." And they all stopped. Taylor, you got your cigarette out? Taylor's probably smoking a menthol, if I know Taylor. Me? I smoke the red-blooded American Marlboro Red cigarette. America's finest cigarette. Are you smoking a Cool? Well, okay. Cool you could call America's finest urban cigarette, if you want that title, okay? It's funny that I smoke rural cigarettes and you smoke urban cigarettes. Because I live in California, which is considered more urban, and you live in Missouri, which is considered more rural. Puns aren't funny? Okay, fine. I'll agree with you, CJ. Puns aren't funny. You got me there. I have yet to see a funny pun. I'm sure there must be one somewhere, but I can't think of it. That's a tall order if you're saying, okay, come up with a funny pun. It's like, okay. Yeah, that's pretty impossible. That joke was funny because it subverted expectations and was an anti-joke. Well, yeah. I mean, you got to be clever, obviously. You can't just say, why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? I mean, the answer can't be to get to the other side, obviously. If the answer is to get to the other side, then if you actually it would be a pretty funny way to start a stand-up comedy routine. So, why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. And just stand there and wait for people to laugh. That would be kind of funny. Knock, knock. Who's there? Orange. Orange who? Orange, you glad I didn't say banana? Orange, you glad I didn't say banana? Classic. Of course, you're supposed to ask it several times first, before you get to the banana part. The first several times you're supposed to go, banana. Knock, knock. Who's there? Orange. Orange who? Banana. Knock, knock. Who's there? And then eventually you say, orange, you glad I didn't say banana. Knock, knock. Who's there? To get to the other side. That's a good step, Ruben. Alternately, knock, knock. Who's there? A priest, a rabbi, and a nun going into a bar. Okay. Who needs this morning, because they've got a hard day ahead of them, who needs a transubstantiated bong rip? Or because you have an easy day ahead of you, either way. Or a medium day. Who wants this bong rip transubstantiated directly from my lungs to their head? Yeah, you can just transition into your next joke. Why didn't he park on the other side of the road? He was afraid of getting towed. I've never heard that follow-up joke to to the chicken crossing the road. It's a text joke. You have to read it, and it doesn't really make any sense. But that's fine. Okay, Ruben, this one I will transubstantiate for you. Fortunately, I got a mini transubstantiator right here, so I don't have to bust out. Well, you know what? I'll go ahead and do it for you. I'll bust out the major transubstantiator, so you get major transubstantiation. I hereby transubstantiate this bong rip to Ruben. I'm sorry, the inside Ruben's butt. There, Ruben, it's in your butt now, so you might feel a little bit of discomfort. Try to hold it in as long as you can. I'd like to say, and now for my next joke. Oh, you were applying butthole chapstick at that moment? Yeah, well, he's going to need to reapply it now for sure. You could probably market butthole lipstick to women and sell it. Don't be Don't be caught with an ugly, unlipsticked butthole when it's time to get sexy with your man. You could probably sell that shit to chicks. Chicks believe anything if you tell them, yo, you're not beautiful enough in this area. They'll buy anything. You know? Scratch and sniff is shutting down? Oh, but I want to scratch and sniff things. Now I can't anymore. I never took advantage of my opportunity to scratch and sniff things while I had it. Now I've lost it. I just have to scratch and sniff Rachel. You smell good. Black for the goth ladies? Yeah. The goth ladies put on black butthole lipstick. Pucker down. That's a pretty good name for it. You could have a shade known as wrong hole red. Nothing says stop like wrong hole red. That would be its motto. Nothing says stop like wrong hole red. That's for girls who do not want Frank Zappa's penis in their butt. Why carry two tubes when one will do? That's gross misfortune. You can't use your lipstick for your butthole too. While we're at it, why are we just putting lipstick on our face labia? You know, you got two sets of labia. Why not put lipstick on both of them? Sphincter stick is for your sphincter. That's different. Your sphincter doesn't have lips. All right, so sphincter stick is the proper name for sphincter stick. But you could put lipstick on your vagina lips, and it would still be called lipstick. They could call it lower lipstick. You got your upper lipstick and your lower lipstick, and your sphincter stick. You need 3 sticks. Maybelline will offer all 3 kinds of sticks. Upper lipstick, lower lipstick, and sphincter stick. They'll come in regular colors and like punk rock colors, like neon green. If you're really punk rock, you got neon green, and the carpet matches the drapes. You know what I'm saying? Your lips on top are neon green, and so are your lips down below. Oh yeah, look, you have 1 stick with 2 caps. Just don't get confused, right? Just don't get confused about which is which. That's pretty important. Well, I don't know. Probably girls like, oh, it's a little bit of my vagina on my lips. It's no big deal. No, you don't want one. You need to have your sphincter stick be a different one entirely, I think. You don't want to take the chance of using your sphincter stick on your top lips. your upper lips, your face lips, or your nether lips. You don't want to use your sphincter stick on your nether lips or your face lips. So you got to have that one. It's like diesel fuel at the gas station. It's got to be a different color. It's green. You know, at the gas station, the regular gas has black pumps, but diesel has green. Also, it doesn't fit in your hole. I've never tried it, but apparently, if you try to put diesel into your regular car, it won't fit into the hole. So that's how you need to have that level of sophistication in keeping your sphincter stick distinct from your lipsticks. You have the two-sided one, like Winston's mom says, for your face and nether labia. But the sphincter stick needs to be green like diesel. Yeah. Yeah, I have to put disclaimers. Do not share this with other people. Do not put this on either your upper or lower lips. This is for buttholes only. You know, they sell douches to women. Like, your vag stinks too much. Use a douche. If they can sell that to women, they can sell butthole lipstick. It could also be butthole freshening lipstick, you know. Does your butthole ever feel not so fresh? Yeah, I remember those commercials for Massingale douche, where the mom and the daughter are on a yacht sailing out to Chesapeake Bay. And the daughter says, "Mom, do you ever feel not so fresh?" And the mom says, "Massingale is the solution for you. Look, you just gotta squirt this shit up your puss, and then it'll smell so fresh. Thanks, Mom." Well, as you can tell, all my inventions are dumb, though. Tampons with wings. You know, I like to mansplain products. I like products that mansplain. Is your butthole pale and crusty? Not with sphincter stick. Yeah. You know, the commercial would be something like this. I'm a responsible woman, so I douche regularly. But what about the other side? Introducing sphincter stick. With powerful odor suppressants and and revitalizing moistures. Yeah, Eric's feminine products. I think that's a good commercial. It's sort of subtle. It's acting kind of shy. But what about the other side? Made with essential oils. Eric's feminine butthole stick is. Eric's feminine hygiene butthole stick is applied in one gentle motion. It revitalizes, soothes, deodorizes, and makes your butthole shiny. It's funny. With eucalyptus sourced from Australia, palm oil. Yeah. You should call it ass knife, though. I think ass knife is a little bit too crude of a name for it. Should call it, you know, sanitizing the Santa slice or something, right? Have it be the tip be tipped with silver so that it has natural antiseptic properties. Well, what a day, what a day. It's 7:22 in the a.m. I could do something kind of productive, like could sweep up some around, or I could try to get some of the gray stuff off with my knife and or a tool from the garage, like a paint scraper might be a good example. It's like I'd like to do these tasks on speed. I don't really feel like doing them that much not on speed. But I don't feel like just sitting around and being blah. But I also don't really feel that energized. So I'm kind of at a loss. I don't want to go back to bed. I feel pretty well slept out, I think. It's too early to call the doctor. And I just have a bad taste in my mouth, literally and figuratively, because I don't know whether I'm going to get any drugs today. This is ridiculous. I It's like if I knew for sure, okay, you're never going to get those drugs again. Not for like months, so just give up on it. Then that'd be fine. I could just proceed as normal. And if I knew for sure that I was going to get drugs today, then I'd be like, okay, well, cool. I'm definitely getting drugs later today, so I'm going to get a little bit of a head start and get some stuff done or whatever. Instead, I'm in this mystery land of uncertainty. A mystery land of uncertainty that makes it impossible to have reasonably sure expectations about what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That makes me feel like singing the Velvet Underground's Waiting for My Man. He's never early. He's always late. First thing you learn is that you've always gotta wait. I tell you, the pharmacy is worse than a real drug dealer. It's terrible. I feel such misfortune. Not like misfortune, but misfortune. But really, I'm just being spoiled, I know. I keep trying to remind myself of that. I'm being spoiled. You can't have everything you want all the time. You just have to be patient. But the problem is, I don't mind being patient if I knew when that was I had to wait for it till, right? It's the uncertainty I don't like. I don't want to not know whether I'm going to get it or when I'm going to get it, you know? I want to know for sure one way or the other. But some scoundrels in the government did scoundrelly thing. No, Winston's mom, this shit's impossible to get. I do. I have $26 in my hand. It's about how much it costs for my Adderall at CVS. No, pardon me, sir. That's first from my mind. I'm just looking for a real good friend of mine. I'm waiting for my man. Hi, Acacia. The sky. That's what's up. Guten Morgen. That's how they say good morning in Germany. What's that sound? What was that sound? Oh, the brightness. Ah! If I were a vampire, I'd be hurting right now with the sunlight. There'd be smoke coming up off of me. This is how I prove I'm not a vampire. Wow. How did you do that? Winston's mom. Oh yeah, I don't get the real stuff. I don't know if it's better or not. Hi, Alien 60. Lamau facts. Who made a good pun? I'm no daywalker. Yeah, my price has changed too, but lately it's been like $26. Well, yeah, if you want to make people laugh out loud, you're not gonna come armed with a bunch of puns. The warmth of your love is like the warmth of the sun, and this will be our year. Took a long time to come, and I won't forget the time you held me up when I was down, and I won't forget, darling, you told me, da, 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 you give me faith to go on, now here, and we've only just begun. This will be our year. Took a long time to come. That's a good song by the Zombies. Good morning, Jeremiah Fix. I am sorry that I did not respond directly to your hello prior to now. I respond to you now, belatedly. Trees are giant plants. It's a good observation here, Lamb. I've got a very giant plant right over there. It's a super big tree. What's smoother on the stomach and more consistent? Taller. What is that? I want it all. Are you talking about Vyvanse versus Adderall? Or are you talking about name brand Adderall versus generic? Oh, well, now I know what you're talking about. Now I know, now I know, now I know what you're talking about, and I feel like $1,000. My friend Abraham, he's around here occasionally. Abraham says the name brand's better. I've had his name brand before, and I'm tempted to agree. But that doesn't make any sense to me. But I don't know. I kind of got the feeling like it was better too. When do I feel like just $100? I don't know. Seems like I either feel like 5 cents or at least $1,000. Sometimes I feel like 5 cents. That's when I'm like, oh, I feel shitty. Oh, then I feel like 5 cents. What does 10 pounds of gold feel like? 10 pounds of gold. I don't know. I never had 10 pounds of gold. Things are picking up when I get to $100. Well, yeah, I guess I don't really notice that transition period. There must be a transition period of me going from feeling like 5 cents to feeling like $1,000. But I don't really notice that part, I guess. Back in a New York groove. Is that Ace Frehley song? Oh, these jeans are a little tight on the boys. They either creep up or they fall down. They've got two wrongnesses available to them. Neither of them are wrongnesses that I like. I could stop them from falling down by putting on a belt, which I should do, but I haven't done that yet. Just cut out the crotch. No, I'm not going to cut out the crotch. In fact, just yesterday I threw away a pair of boxers that were ripped all the way down the backside. They were like buttless boxers, basically. I had to throw them away. The rip kept getting bigger and bigger, so they were just like basically these tatters hanging down from the elastic waistband, you know. I just threw them away. I said, good riddance to you, you buttless boxers. You might think there's an advantage there. You could poop by just putting your boxers to the side. But I never took advantage of that option, and I didn't want to. I just pulled them down as normal. I just think to myself, why do I even keep these boxers? They have no backside at all to them. Eventually, I threw them away. Of course, I just like keep wearing them and then go like, I hate these boxers. They're so pointless. And then I'd take them off, but I wouldn't throw them away. And then Rachel would just wash them and put them back again, and I just wear them again. I'm not going to sing Freebird. I don't think I know how to sing Freebird. It'll be like a pants version of the shorts from Mean Girls. I mean, the Velvet Underground are like dark horse band that has a shit ton of good songs. Like, but they're terribly produced by and large, unlike the Beatles, who were very well produced. But yeah, I mean, Lou Reed wrote a shit ton of brilliant songs. It's crazy. I would say he he's undervalued. Yeah, Stephanie Says is a great song. I can't think of how it goes right now though, for some reason. I keep getting it confused with Candy said but you know, as far as Lou Reed songs go, I like Satellite of Love and of course Perfect Day. Satellite of Love is a great song. Oh, Kitty. Kitty's got a hairball. I like Free Fallin'. It's a good song, too. Satellites gone into the sky. Things like that drive me out of my mind. I died for a little while. I like to watch things on TV. Boo-doo-dum, 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 bum, bum, bum. Satellite of love, bum, bum, bum. Satellite of love, bum, bum, bum. Satellite of love, satellite of. I gotta listen to that song again, C.J. O'Connell. I can't get it right in my head for some reason. I know the song, and if I heard it, I'd know it. I probably played it before. I played a lot of Velvet Underground songs with the guitar when I was learning how to play the guitar. They're not necessarily difficult to play. Perfect Day is, of course, a genius song as well. How does it go? The beginning of it. It's such a perfect day. Meow, meow, meow in the park. Meow, 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 meow. It's such a perfect day. Glad I spent it with you. Bum, 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 bum. It's such a perfect day. Na, 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 na. That's a good song. It's a great song. It's a classic piece of spectacular songwriting. I don't think that's overstating it. It's a iconic piece of spectacular songwriting. Who's getting led on in the song? Oh. I haven't really thought about the lyrics that much. Maybe you're right. He has a lot of dark lyrics. I think he lives kind of a dark life. I choose not to live in the shadows, but instead walk in the light. It's true. It's true what I say. I'm not pro-debauchery in general, you know. I'm what you might call a moralist, by and large. So, yeah, in that regard, you might say I'm substantially different than Lou Reed, who was, I would say, kind of amoral / immoral. What with his old, the fact that you are married only proves you're my best friend. And it's truly, truly a sin. Don't romanticize that shit, Lou Reed. It is truly, truly a sin. So stop doing it. You know? But you can't say someone's art's bad just because you don't like something like what it says or whatever. It's good if it works, and if you don't like what it says, you just gotta acknowledge that. Yeah. So is Sweet Nothing. Take a look at Jimmy Brown. He ain't got nothing at all. Take a look on his back. He ain't got nothing at all. Oh, sweet nothing. Ain't got nothing at all. That's a depressing song, you know. I ain't sleeping with someone else's wife. I'll be your mirror, reflect who you are, in case you don't know. I'll be the meow, The meow and the meow meow, the meow 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 meow. So you won't be afraid, and I'll see you twisted and unkind, having something to meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow. 'Cause I see you. Ooh. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I'll be your mirror. I'll be your mirror. I'll be your mirror. I'll be your mirror. Yeah, well, I'm getting back into regular life here, Boba Fett. That's the thing of the matter. Getting back into regular life. Human tunnels? What does that mean? Do you mean to write urinals? Did you write it the same way again? Tunnels? That's a horrible quote. Help me find my special place. Help me in my weakness, 'cause I've fallen out of grace. Jesus, Jesus. Oh. Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with my Velvet Underground catalog, CJ. For some reason, I cannot think of the tune to Stephanie Says. Although, with those lyrics right there, I should be able to remember. Stephanie Says that she... Stephanie says that she wants to know why she's given half her life to people she hates. Now, I should be able to remember the melody of that. But I can't for some reason right now. I'm beginning to see the light. Some people work very hard, but still they never get it right. Yeah, I'm beginning to see the light. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. But dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. But dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. But dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. All right. That's a good song. They have a lot of good songs. I've always liked If you close the door, the night would last forever, and keep the sun shine out, and say goodbye to never. All the people are laughing and they're having such fun. I wish it would happen to me. But if you close the door, we'll never have to see the day again. But people and down in Cadillac cars, and the people and so if you close the door, that's a great one. It sings really well, you know. Practically invented twee. I'm not sure what twee refers to, but I really love that sentence and that linkage there. I think that's probably right on the money. I'm not quite sure what twee is, but I like the word too. Let's go smoke. I'll smoke, you'll smoke, but we'll all smoke for smoke smoke. I'm gonna get an iced tea this time. I've had enough coffee. It's actually half iced tea. Rachel asked the very good and compelling question yesterday. Okay, if this is light, what makes it light? And so I actually looked on the can, and apparently there's a regular one of these that has like 40 more calories in it. But I've never seen the regular one. I've always only seen light and diet. I've never seen the regular one. So what's going on there is a good question. I guess I should probably put some more cutlets. It looks like they still have some cutlets. I just interrupted them eating them. The cat wants to come outside. Well, come on. She's a good cat. It was so weird. I got up this morning. I looked at my watch. I could have sworn it said 12:30. I thought, oh, it's like the middle of the night. I'm going back to bed. And then it's like I couldn't sleep in bed. And I got up and I said, like, wow, that full moon's really bright. I looked at my watch and it was 5:15 in the morning. So I'm not sure what happened there. Like, did I read my watch wrong? Which is what I think I did the first time. I thought it said 12:30. But what could it have said that would look like 12:30? Maybe like, I guess 5 a.m. would look like 12:30, kind of 12:25, if I got the hands of the watch wrong. Anyways, Kitty, will you leave the blue jay alone, please? Capillo, God damn it, look at this. Capillo's on the hunt, trying to get herself a blue jay. Leave the wildlife friends alone. Don't go chasing woodland friends, Capillo, because you scared them all far away. So it's like, I just need to know. Am I going to be, is this going to be a speed-free week, which I'm just going to need to operate accordingly? Like, okay, there's not going to be any speed this week, so I'm just going to settle into life as normal. Or am I going to get my drugs? In which case, I'll behave accordingly. Like, okay, I'm not in any huge hurry to get started, but I know I got them coming, so it'll be good. Capillo, will you leave the woodland friends alone? Capillo's up there playing hunting cat. Hunting cat, the predator at large. And all the birds are squawking about it and saying, watch out, there's a cat. I wish Capillo would just leave the woodland friends alone. But I do like the fact that she's outside. They have all this fun area to explore. They might as well just explore it. You know, cats. You can't blame cats for being cats. They like to go after little creatures. I don't mind them killing mice, but I don't want them getting birds or lizards. They like to kill lizards. Let me go. These birds sound like they're very distressed over here. I might have to go check and see what's going on. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go see what the cat's up to. If I take you up there, I'll run out of Wi-Fi room, so I have to leave you here. She's just standing up there at the corner, but she's got her hackles all raised, like her fur's all puffed up. And I don't know, there's various woodland friends who are expressing alarm. I prefer my cat not kill woodland friends. But you know, she's going to have her occasional success in her hunting endeavors, I don't doubt. It's nice that they're outside more. That cat box is less of a disaster usually to clean up. Well, I should probably clean it right now. I should do that right now while I've got you guys with me. Chores are less of a torturous thing to do when I get you guys along with me. Because then I can explain to you the processes of cleaning the cat box. Because as you know, everything needs to be explained, and I need to be the one explaining everything. Go ahead. Go on outside if you want. If you're gonna go out, go out. And if you're gonna stay in, stay in. 'Cause there's a million ways to win. You know that there are. You gonna stay in? Okay. That's a Cat Stevens song. What am I doing? Oh yeah, cleaning the cat box. That'll be fun. Not a very fun activity. I was being ironic there. It's actually not that much fun to clean the cat box. But it's something that has to be done. I haven't done it since last night, so I'm sure it's full. Yeah, there's litter all over the ground because they kick it out. There's a P. There's a couple of poops. There's a little bit of pee. I guess that's it. Okay. Now I gotta scoop up all this extra litter that they just kick out of here. I probably have it a little on the overfull side right now, but better overfull than underfull. That's what I say. Better overfull than underfull, because you don't want the pee to reach the bottom of the litter. In trouble, he's got like a human-sized bladder, so he can pee a lot of pee. Yes, you can, Mr. Man. You can pee as much pee as 1,000 pee makers. Oh, you want to come back in, huh, Capillo? Very well. I'm going back out, though. So take that, I fooled you. All right. So what time is it? It's 8 o'clock. I'll wait a little longer. Then I gotta call my doctor's office and say, WTF. And say, now listen here. People love it when you start your sentences with, now listen here. Colon. All right, guys, unfortunately, I've got meow, 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 meow. All right, well, you meow, 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 then. And have some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches while you're at it. So I don't know exactly what to do. It's very frustrating. What I should do is like just start working on things I need to get done. I mean, we actually got quite a bit done this weekend, Rachel and I did. When Rachel wants to get something done, we get stuff done. She'll say, can you meow, 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 meow this? And we'll meow, meow, meow. Meow, meows are my favorite. Good morning, Rachel, darling. Life's a mysterious mystery. That's all you can take away from it, is that it's a mysterious mystery full of slabifications. The slabs are always active, whether you're feeling them at the moment or not. They're not always directly active on you, but things are in motion behind the scenes, you know. Nobody can escape from the power of the slabs. And that includes me, of course. I can't escape from the power of the slabs at all, you know. At the slab's mercy all the time. But obviously, you know, you can be more passive or more active, and the slabs are responsive. They're not just like dead. to your behavior, of course. But you got to be careful not to force things too. So trying to be a good slab jockey it's a difficult task. It's not something anybody can easily claim to execute effortlessly, let alone master. It's a lot of guesswork and wishful thinking. Wishful thinking's not going to get that gray stuff off that wall, though. I'll tell you. It's going to require a little bit of elbow grease. You know what I should do when I'm scraping the gray stuff off the wall? I should learn martial arts like Ralph Macchio did. I could do that. I could use this opportunity to learn how to block in karate. Just scrape the wall. Like this, Danya-san. Okay. Like that. I scrape the wall like that, and then at the end I'll magically have karate. That's the best and easiest way to get karate, is to do a big manual chore like this. Use the pressure washer. This is a karate move that's really useful. If somebody's trying to come at you and leaves their ear and mouth right here, you grab it like that. You got them. Like that. Of course, you can't get spit on your finger, but you got to stay in the cheek, not so he can bite you. One of my secret karate moves I learned by taking the gray stuff off the wall. You should just start watching shorts, CJ. Nothing but shorts from now on. CJ's watching comedy songs. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Life is a mystery. I could clean up all this stuff right now if I wanted to. I could just get out a broom and just start cleaning it up. You know, I could just start cleaning it up. Just get a broom. I could put some shoes on. I could put a belt on. I could even keep streaming in theory and do that. Although I know I don't work as efficiently when I'm streaming. I just don't. So if I'm going to work on it, I should just work on it. But instead, I feel like I'm in this horrible limbo of not knowing whether I'm going to get speed. Spembo, I call it. Speed limbo. As of right now, I call it spembo. Spembo is horrible. Not having speed, that's fine. Having speed, that's fine. Spembo is horrible. I don't like spembo. That's my message today. I'm tired of spembo, and spembo's tired of me. There. There's some scenic views for you. Oops. Let's see if my phone's okay. Well, so that's what it's like to fall over face first onto the ground. You always wanted to know what it was like, right? It's just like that. Now stop being such spembos. There. Hi, my name's host Eric, and as you can see, I'm standing very far away from the camera. But I'm not sounding like I'm standing very far away from the camera, no. That's because I've got two things in one. A microphone and a long cable that attaches it to my phone. Using this magic technology, I am able to talk to you even though I'm very far away without raising my voice. You're able to hear me. You're able to enjoy this wonderful commentary. It's all thanks to this lavalier mic. So let's give it a round of applause. So, this is one of the kind of special things that I, as a live streamer, bring to you as the viewer that you're not necessarily going to get someplace else. Everybody else, they're like sitting right there, right up close to the camera. But not me. I'm walking around. I'm exploring the space. I'm really taking action. I'm providing your SE satisfaction. I can go like this. I can swoop all around in different directions. You can see me in all the different directions as long as they don't go off of camera. And then I could get close if I want to, like, or I could get far away if I want to. And it's all thanks to this lavalier mic. What would be even better would be a cordless lavalier mic, but of course I wouldn't really be sure on the distance. Like, how far away can I get, really, before it stops lavalier miking? Be a good, interesting question. I should get one and find out. Also, your mom. Let's see if I can make a basket from here. Can Eric make a basket? Everybody place your bets. I'm going to shoot this cigarette butt into that ashtray right over there. That little tan thing. Can I make it? Everybody place your bets. The answer is no. What about on attempt number 2? All right, I'll give you more time this time. Place your bets. The shot is coming in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pew! Oh. Let's try again. What I need to say is chip. This is like a chip in golf. Okay, here we go. And 10, 9, 8. Let's see what people bet this time. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. Oh. This time I overcompensated. It was too far. All right. So if you bet no, no, no on the first 3 attempts, you were right. Here's the 4th attempt. We're going to do another countdown here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. 4th attempt. 4th time's a charm, they say. Well, the 4th time was not a charm. I'm sorry to report. The 4th time was just another failure. Somewhat worse than previous failures. Here comes time number 5. This is the last time I'm going to try this. If I can't make it this time, then I'm just going to give up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put in your votes, no or yes, because they're going to make it. 5th and final try. Oh. The answer is no again. The answer is boo, failure, boo. I did nothing but fail. Just non-stop failure. Oh well. I guess that's just my destiny in life. All right. Well, I'm no expert cigarette butt thrower. It's not my field of expertise. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to call this a stream and go. I'm going to try to watch a cartoon maybe. Call the doctor eventually. Figure that shit out. The whole thing makes me just want to go. Like that. That's how I feel right now. That's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. Not about the cigarette butts. I'm fine about that. But I feel that way about my drugs. Like, just tell me whether I'm going to get them and when I'm going to get them already. You know? All right. Goodbye, everybody. I love you all. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. I'll be back later, hopefully on drugs, you know? Hopefully I'll be back later. I'll be on drugs. And that's FI. Yeah, that's FI, CJ. So straight up hardcore, straight to the main vein FI. All right, bye, everybody. I love you. Goodbye.